Hello, welcome to the France 24 interview. I'm Annette Young. The death of Muammar Gaddafi, battered and abused before being shot to death, is fast becoming a metaphor for the chaos that now threatens to unfold across Libya. The country's interim ruling council is frantically working hard to restore its credibility. This as its Western backers worry about its public embrace of Sharia law. And the burden is going to fall mainly on the shoulders of its newly picked Prime Minister, Dr. Abdel Rahman El-Kib. He joins me today from Tripoli. You're in the process now of pulling together an interim cabinet. How are negotiations progressing? Are you going to be able to hold elections within 8 months' time?
I believe we will be able to. We have a schedule. I will have a schedule on my desk that I look at all the time that shows me we have 8 months. We have already lost 2 or 3 days now. So we are left with 240 minus 3 days. That's 237 days. And we'll be working very hard to meet that deadline.
The to-do list for the NTC is extraordinary, isn't it? I mean, first of all, you need to restore law and order to the streets, and there are numerous armed militia groups roaming across the country, still refusing to lay down their arms. How are you going to convince them to do as such?
You know, this revolution has started with people just voicing their feelings and opinions in the streets, asking for their freedom, asking for their basic human rights, and a brutal regime that got used to killing and slaughtering in every way possible its own people. That regime has transformed this peaceful revolution to become one where people held their guns and arms and all that, people that never had to deal with this at all in the past. So I can tell you that the back transformation of this is going to take some time. I don't, at least in terms of our government, we will not force people to take quick and hasty decisions and actions and come up with some laws that just prevents people from holding arms.
But
we will address the issues, the reasons, and we will find ways and means to work with them. I have already started talking to some of these freedom fighters, and they seem to be receptive.
But there's
I don't see.
But there's been a situation where you've had rival military commanders refusing, jockeying for positions, and at the same time refusing to lay down their arms because they're saying that the city of Tripoli, for instance, is not secure enough. That doesn't bode well. I mean, how much time is it going to take to convince them to do this?
You know how long Tripoli has been free? It's barely 2 months or so, plus or minus few days. This is a city that had a brutal regime moving all over the place, imprisoning so many people in the thousands and killing people in the hundreds. And they have those graves, the mass graves, like you would not believe. We've never heard of this before in our history, even when we were occupied by a foreign force or a foreign country. So I think we need to be a bit patient. I guarantee you, and I say that with all confidence, that at some point in the near future, hopefully before the 8 months end, we will be able to have those armed freedom fighters lay down their arms and go back to their business.
Clearly, though, revenge needs to be replaced by reconciliation. And
Absolutely.
human rights groups are saying that fighters loyal to the NTC have executed scores of suspected or captured Gaddafi loyalists in his hometown of Sirte. I mean, does the NTC leadership have control over these men?
You know, Ms. Annette, when we say control, I can say yes, the NTC has control. Is it full control? I would say we're getting there. Do we want to have to force these people to these Libyans who are actually our brothers and sisters and sons? Do we want to force them into doing this? I hope we don't have to. I know for a fact that we will be able to put together programs that would give them the opportunity to retrain and reform and go back to their normal life. But I am a firm believer that these people will understand. In fact, they do understand, but they're worried. And I guarantee you, one of the factors, and I'm talking about, well, there is a small percentage of these revolutionaries, or maybe what we should be calling them as freedom fighters, who are interested in keeping their arms for one reason or another. But this is a small group. The largest group, or the majority of the groups, they are interested in laying down their arms and going back to their schools, going back to their business. You know, I don't know if you know or not, but many of them are doctors, medical doctors. Many of them are engineers. Many of them are university students, and many of them are businessmen. And I guarantee you that each and every one of them wants to go back to normal life.
Dr. El-Kibib,
So
if I could now just bring
Please.
you to another issue in terms of restoring security, and that is the fact that the country is awash with heavy weapons. I know that the NTC leadership says it does not have enough money or funding to locate and ensure the safety of all those weapons and ensure that they're stockpiled safely somewhere. Are you able to get that funding from the international community?
No, well, I thank you for bringing up this issue, Ms. Annette. I think the international community needs to first of all, many friendly countries have been supporting us during the revolution against this brutal regime, and we cannot thank them enough. We do appreciate them greatly, and we do appreciate their help and their patience, and I extend my appreciation and the appreciation of the Libyan people to their people. However, when we talk about the assets and our need for funding our own money, we hope that people understand that when they talk about trying to implement our national reconciliation programs, and when we try to come up with programs to accommodate and try to retrain our freedom fighters, it requires money. And we think that we do have them, but they're frozen. So I hope that the international community would work with us and give us back our money.
Okay, let's now talk about political issues that your organisation has to deal with. First of all, the new constitution, according to interim leader Mustafa Abdel Jalil, is to embrace elements of the Sharia law. It's seen by many in the West as a worrying development, a sign possibly that the country could be ruled by Islamists with a very conservative agenda. Is that a distinct possibility?
I think this is not a possibility in my mind. If you are talking about modern Islam, in the sense that people are accommodating, people do understand, can communicate with others, but in the meantime keeping their faith, I would say yes. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with that. You can look at Turkey, for example. Turkey is a Muslim country. But in the meantime, it works well with the West, and people of different faiths are living together. And this is nothing new to us here in Libya. We had, and we continue to have, friends from who hold other beliefs. And I personally used to live in a community where we had people from different faiths, and I don't see a problem. It's not a problem for us at all.
Dr. Al-Kib, but the big question for the NTC is whether or not the country can get there without all those regional and religious and policy divisions, which could knock things off course, and as a result, you could find yourselves sort of heading back towards violence.
You know, Ms. Annette, I had to, with all my due respect to you, but I don't see you right now, but I heard your words, which are words that I read in the international magazines and newspapers. I don't see what they think they see. I see democracy in practice. I see people who have just gained their freedom, people that never held arms, but they had to hold them. People don't see, I see people that are looking for ways to go back to their normal life. We need the funds to be able to create programs, implement those programs, so that we can accommodate them. It's a vicious cycle. If we continue to think like we can overnight just say, okay, give me back your arms, go back to work, and I don't have any funds to help you or take care of you. This is impractical. As an engineer myself, I think this is not going to work. We need tremendous help from our friends in the international community so that we can unfreeze those funds or assets.
Dr. Al-Kib, I'm afraid that's all we have time for. Thank you so much for being with us, and that's it for this. And that's it for this edition of the Frans van Kaart interview. Stay tuned for more news and headlines, which are coming up shortly.